So picture this. You've spent hours, maybe even your entire weekend, preparing lessons, managing a crowded classroom, and, just pouring your heart into helping your students learn. Then, out of nowhere, after a totally standard disciplinary action, a complaint is filed against you. No investigation yet, no facts established at all. But suddenly, this paralyzing fear just enters your classroom. Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really complex issue. It's something many of us educators discuss quietly in the faculty room, but we rarely talk about it out in the open. At the heart of this explainer is a delicate, often unspoken tension right inside our educational system. We're looking at the balance between absolutely vital child protection policies and the fundamental authority a teacher actually needs to manage a classroom. Now look, most of us agree that child protection is 100% essential, no question. But some educators are now asking a really difficult question. Can a system designed to protect our most vulnerable learners also ensure fairness for teachers who are just trying to do their jobs? To really grasp this, we have to look at the daily reality inside our schools. On one side, we have normal classroom management. The everyday actions required to actually foster learning. But shadowing that is this growing anxiety. It's the fear that routine actions might be misinterpreted, or worse, weaponized into administrative cases. And let's be clear, this isn't about educators wanting to be harsh, not at all. It's about the very real, very human fear of an unverified accusation completely derailing a lifelong career. Well, we've got to ground our discussion in the primary source document at the center of it all. This is DepEd Order Number 40, Series of 2012. You probably know it as the Child Protection Policy. Now, this policy was created with a noble and absolutely necessary purpose: to ensure our schools are safe, nurturing environments. Under the 1987 Constitution, the state is legally mandated to defend children's rights, providing special protection from all forms of neglect, abuse, and cruelty. So, Order 40 established a strict, zero-tolerance approach. It explicitly prohibits physical violence, sexual violence, psychological violence, and bullying. For decades, let's be honest, schools struggled with these deeply damaging issues. This policy was a crucial intervention to protect vulnerable learners from genuine harm. It's meant to ensure that the classroom remains a sanctuary and never, ever a place of fear. So, how are we as teachers expected to manage behavior under this specific framework? The mandate is called positive and nonviolent discipline. And this isn't just about avoiding punishment. Actually, it's a holistic, proactive approach that treats children as full human beings with basic rights. The goal here is to use everyday challenges as opportunities to teach lifelong skills, leaving the corporal punishment of the past firmly in the past. But here is where we run into that hidden tension. While the policy's intent is undeniable, its implementation on the ground has created some unintended consequences in the classroom. We're seeing this shift where just enforcing normal rules suddenly feels like a huge professional risk. Many teachers are reporting that the broad definitions of things like psychological violence leave them feeling incredibly exposed. They're left wondering, is a simple reprimand going to cost me my livelihood? Just think about these standard, everyday classroom management tasks: confiscating a prohibited item, documenting misconduct, referring a student to the guidance office, or simply issuing a failing grade based on actual performance. Today, these routine actions are causing serious hesitation. Educators worry that holding a student accountable might instantly trigger a formal complaint from an unhappy learner or parent. The result of all this fear is something educational experts are calling defensive teaching. It's like when professionals start making decisions primarily to avoid complaints rather than to achieve the best educational outcomes while learning suffers. Teachers are actively avoiding disciplinary confrontations. They're limiting their interventions to correct behavior publicly, and they're spending massive amounts of time on excessive documentation purely for self-protection. And this tension isn't just confined to the physical four walls of the classroom. It extends right into the digital realm. Annex B of the policy outlines safeguarding guidelines for technology and social media. Processing a learner's personal information now requires securing explicit written consent. The rules for how teachers interact online are meticulously defined. It adds yet another heavy layer of complex compliance right onto an educator's plate. There are also super strict restrictions on digital communication. As a general rule, school personnel are literally prohibited from conducting direct private communications with learners. That means no private phone calls, no SMS, and no direct messaging on social media. Even group chats require parental consent. Now, these rules exist to mutually protect both learners and personnel from abuse or false accusations, but at the same time, they also severely limit that natural day-to-day mentorship. Even the physical act of managing distractions is heavily regulated now. Annex G details the administrative sanctions for electronic devices. Let's say you confiscate a phone. You can't just put it in your desk drawer anymore. It requires filling out a specific confiscation slip, formally communicating with the parents, and eventually turning the device over to the school head's office. The administrative burden for something as simple as a confiscation is, well, it's immense. However, to truly understand this whole picture, we've got to look at the other side completely impartially. Child rights advocates raise a vital warning that we simply cannot ignore. They argue we absolutely cannot weaken these child protection measures. Why? Because doing so would expose vulnerable learners to real abuse. We have to remember our history here. These policies were enacted because children genuinely experienced harmful treatment in schools. Strong safeguards remain an absolute necessity. So, advocates argue powerfully that the solution is definitely not less protection for our kids. Instead, they say the solution lies in improving the system itself. We need better policy implementation and much clearer procedures across the board. When a complaint is filed, we need faster investigations and, crucially, stronger due process for everyone involved. The system has to be fair and transparent to prevent malicious accusations while still effectively catching genuine abuse. I want to just pause right here and ask you directly. This is a complex issue with extremely valid concerns on both sides. Do you believe stronger teacher protection can coexist with strong child protection policies? I really encourage you to reflect on this and share your thoughts respectfully in the comments. It's a crucial discussion that every single school community needs to be having right now. The crucial realization here is a synthesis of these two realities. Protecting children and protecting teachers are not, and really should never be treated as opposing goals. The challenge facing education today isn't about choosing between the safety of a learner and the professional security of an educator. Not at all. The real challenge is building a comprehensive system where both of these protections work together in perfect harmony. Think of it kind of like two necessary shields. Shield 1 is child protection, ensuring every single student is free from physical and psychological violence. Shield 2 is teacher protection, ensuring educators are shielded from unverified accusations when they are acting within official rules. A truly safe school requires both of these shields. The environment just cannot be structurally sound if either shield is shattered. Ultimately, a functioning classroom relies entirely on trust. It's the foundation of everything we do. Students must trust that they are physically and emotionally safe. Parents must trust that the school's procedures are fair and completely transparent. And just as importantly, teachers must trust that they will actually be supported by their administration when they act professionally. Without this mutual trust, the whole educational environment simply breaks down. Which leaves us with this final, really vital question to ponder. How can schools maintain discipline, accountability, and academic standards while simultaneously ensuring that every single learner remains protected? Can a teacher enforce rules without fear, and can a student report abuse without fear? The future of our classrooms depends entirely on how we answer this together. Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me. Keep learning and keep asking the hard questions.